How can viruses cross over between species? To understand this, let's take a look at the influenza virus as an example. There are multiple strains of influenza virus. A viral strain is somewhat like a species. In a species, each individual is slightly different from another because their genomes aren't exactly the same, but they're still the same species. This genetic diversity is also reflected in viral strains. For example, an influenza virus strain H1N1 is made of hundreds of millions of viral particles that have slightly different genomes. Each of these little genetic differences are random mutations, which are a little bit like typos in a text. Just as typos generally don't change the meaning of a text, most mutations don't change the nature of a virus. This notion of genetic diversity within a viral strain is essential to understand how a virus can switch hosts. We will also see how natural selection plays an essential role, where genetically diverse virions may have a selective advantage for a different environment, and that the frequency of contact between animals increase the possibility of sharing virions, and therefore, the possibility of crossovers to occur. Let's see how these notions apply. Each influenza strain has been naturally selected to thrive in a specific environment, their natural hosts. Okay, so let's say the chicken flu infects its natural host, the chicken. As the virus replicate within their natural host, the process of copying its genome is sloppy, and random mutations can sometimes occur. The new virions are then shed into the environment, which allows other chickens to breathe in the virus. Most of the virions will be able to infect neighboring chickens and replicate. Some virions may carry mutations that changes their ability to infect chickens and won't be replicated. Multiple rounds of infections and transmissions between chickens allow the positive selection of the viral mutants, which are better adapted to their host. As the infected chicken sheds virions, some of these may randomly find their way into a different environment, such as in human lungs. The vast majority of times, the chicken virions will not be adapted to this new environment and will have no effect on the health of the human. However, mutations in virions can sometimes be more important than a simple typo, and change the meaning of the genetic code with greater consequences. Through random mutations, some virions may have gained the ability to infect and replicate within the human lungs. If the virus can also transmit between humans, rounds of transmission could lead to the natural selection of virions better adapted to the human lungs, as is the case for H1N1, which can no longer infect chickens. In summary, the crossover of a virus from one species to another is a random process that depends on three key factors: the genetic diversity of a viral strain, caused by random mutations, the frequency with which different species have the opportunity to share viruses, and the possibility of viral particles to adapt to a new environment through processes of natural selection. Although vastly oversimplified, the meeting of these three conditions basically explains how viruses can, directly or indirectly, cross over between species.